we extend our gratitude to the Secretary General for his sobering report on the implementation of Resolution 2334. It is a report filled with anguish and despair for the Palestinian people, a stark testament to the ongoing impunity with which the Israeli occupying power disregards international law. It also reflects the paralysis of the international community in the face of such blatant and systematic violation. This report is yet another painful reminder of our collective failure to uphold the right and dignity of the Palestinian people. Madam President, in Gaza, people are not living. They are simply waiting to die. People are not living. They are simply waiting to die. As the Secretary General himself recalled, the catastrophe in Gaza is nothing short of a complete breakdown of our common humanity. End of quote. The death toll now exceeds 45,000. 70% of whom are women and children, with more than 107,000 wounded. The entire neighborhood in Gaza have been demolished. Today, violence, disease, and starvation are omnipresent threat. Humanitarian aid remain highly insufficient to meet the immense needs of the population. Quite simply, Gaza has turned into a graveyard for the living. As if these miserable conditions were not enough, the Israeli occupying army systematically hunts Palestinian civilians from one shelter to another. On December 15, just 3 days ago, 4 schools sheltering displaced families were bombed, killing at least 50 people. For those who doubted the gravity of the violation of the international humanitarian law under Israeli occupations, the facts presented in the Secretary General report leave no room for ambiguity, leave no room for question. Objective observers will reach the conclusion that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. This is meticulously documented by Amnesty International in their recent report, pertinently titled, "You Feel Like You Are Subhuman: Israel's Genocide Against Palestinians in Gaza." So what will the international community do in the face of this genocide? Will it continue to perpetuate impunity? Will it continue to perpetuate immunity? Will it continue to obstruct international justice? Will it continue to deprive Palestinians of their fundamental rights. Is it not time for justice? Is it not time for accountability? Stopping the ethnic cleansing is for us a moral and legal duty. Madam President, a ceasefire in Gaza is long overdue. We deeply regret these councils' inability to demand an immediate, unconditional, and a permanent ceasefire. The Security Council would have acted decisively to fulfill its responsibility to maintain international peace and security. We cannot continue to look away. Madam President, the situation in the West Bank, including Al-Quds Sharif, is equally alarming. The Security Council, the General Assembly, and the International Court of Justice have reaffirmed that Israeli settlements and associated practices constitute flagrant violations of international law. Yet, settlement activity continues unabated. In 2024 alone, plans for over 13,000 housing units have been advanced. Meanwhile, Palestinians' houses are destroyed. Meanwhile, Palestinians live in terror of settler violence, emboldened by the protection of the occupying authorities. While we acknowledge the very light sanctions imposed by some countries against few settlers, this Council cannot remain silent. Furthermore, the daily killing of Palestinians, including women and children, underscores the relentless violence they endure. On average, one Palestinian child is killed every 2 days in the West Bank, a chilling reminder of the human toll of the Israeli occupation. Moreover, the Palestinian National Project now faces yet another threat: annexation. We strongly condemn statements by several Israeli officials calling for the annexation of the West Bank, a clear violation of international law. It jeopardizes any prospects for peace. It undermines efforts toward the establishment of the State of Palestine. This very Council must stand resolutely against this plan. Mr. President, we reiterate our strong condemnation of the decisions adopted by the Israeli authorities aimed at halting UNRWA's activities in the occupying Palestinian territories. If implemented, these measures will utterly deny Palestinians access to the life-saving services provided by UNRWA. Let me be clear. UNRWA is irreplaceable. It operates in accordance with the mandate from the United Nations General Assembly, and it reflects the collective will of the international community. Any attempt to undermine UNRWA in an affront to the international community as a whole. We must all work together to preserve UNRWA and ensure it can continue its critical work. Madam President, in conclusion, developments in Gaza, in the West Bank, in the broader region, offer a stark reflection of the true intentions of the Israeli occupying power. Yet, the situation is dire, but not irreversible. This Council must rise to the moment, uphold international law, and ensure accountability for violation of the international humanitarian law. We owe it to the Palestinian people to translate our words into meaningful and decisive actions, to bring hope where there is despair. As stated by President Abdelmajid Tebboune, stability and security in the Middle East are closely linked to the resolution of the Palestinian issue, which requires the end of the occupation and the restoration of the Palestinian people's inalienable rights. The establishment of a sovereign Palestinian state with Al-Quds al-Sharif as its capital is not merely a legitimate aspiration of the Palestinian people, but the cornerstone for achieving lasting peace in the whole Middle East. I thank you.